Hello people, welcome back to another video, and before we dive in, please subscribe. That makes me happy. In this video we will be talking about middlewares, and before we understand what middlewares are, I want you to look at this very basic diagram of how a node app really works, right? So imagine your request comes in through this entry point, right? And you requested the /login page. So it goes through all these all the routes, right? It matches /login. Again, this is /home, so this won't work. It'll come here, it says /login. Yeah, so this is where the route will be handled and you will be getting a response back. Imagine that if it was /home, it gets here and you get the response. Imagine it was sign up, it gets here and you get the response. And if there's something that does not exist amongst these routes, you will be sent to this handler, the 404 handler that we discussed during the beginning of the series, right? This handler, and this will return you something went wrong, 404 error, or whatever message you write in, right? Middleware ensures that. Now imagine a scenario where this home cannot be shown to a new user, right? The user who can really see this page needs to be signed in, needs to be authenticated, or needs to have some sort of credential so that he can visit this page, right? Now to enforce this, we introduce something called as a middleware. So let me try to add it right in. Okay. Just like that. And let's move these ahead. Okay. Right. And we'll get our middleware right in here. Okay, and we can call this for now the middleware itself. Now this middleware is responsible to handle the request first. So what does that mean? Whatever the request hits your server will first get into the middleware and then will be sent to the rest of the routes. This middleware can ensure that the user is authenticated, that's not sending some useless data, or if sending some data, can reformat it for the other routes to handle. There can be many other usages for the middleware, but authentication is one of them. Right. So let us see it in action. We come back here and we'll create a new file called it test middleware. Right, we can call it test middleware.js. Inside of here, it is going to be again very similar to this get request, post request, or your this error handler route, right? So it is going to be a very basic function. So I can say const test middleware, right? And again, you can either have arrow functions or you cannot have arrow functions. It's up to you. You can say request. It takes in a request just like that. It takes in a response, and it also takes in a function called next. So what is this next function? Again, for now, let's have it for now. I'll talk about what next is. First, let us build our test middleware. For now, it does not do much, but just lets us know that it was hit. So we'll say test middleware hit, just like that, right? And then at the end, what we need to say is we need to call the next function, right? Also, we need to export it, so we are going to say module.exports just so that we can use it in our app.js, just like that. And again, we are going to import this in our app.js just like we imported express. So we're going to say const test middleware require, and let us see if it gets okay. We are getting suggestion, right? So now we have the test middleware imported, and we are going to use it just like we did our error handler middleware, or this is the error handler in middleware. But if you look at the diagram, this middleware should be called before all these routes, and to do so we ensure that we are calling, or we are using this in middleware before we get to any of these routes. So we are going to have it right here, app.use, and we'll say test middleware just like so. Cool. And we'll try to run that application. And what we can say is node app.js. Okay, we're getting an error. Something isn't right. Maybe the port isn't used. Let me kill the port 3000. Let's run this again. Okay, server is up and running. Now what we can do is we can head over to our browser and we can say localhost 3000. Okay, this works as usual. But when we get back, it says test middleware hit. Alright, let us try to get the browser in the same window. Okay, so that we can do it side by side. Alright, so if I hit the request again, it says test middleware hit. So what is happening is we are going through this middleware and then it is going to rest of the routes. So in this case, it's the home route that returns hello world. So this is the route that it's going to, and how that happens, we already discussed. Right. Now, very important thing to observe is if I reload this page, we see this middleware is hit twice, although we hit the request just once. Or should I say it appears that we hit only a single request. Let's dig deeper. So we get to the test middleware and we try to console log some more information. So we say console log and we are going to say request.original, if I can spell it, original URL. Right. And let us now kill the application and try to run it again. Okay. We'll try to hit the request again. Okay. So now you can see we are trying to hit this endpoint and we are trying to also fetch a favicon. And for those who have already done some front-end development before, it's just the icon that is displayed here that we are trying to fetch. So that's this endpoint. So when you try to load a page, it sends two requests, one to really load the HTML and the other to load the favicon, right? Now let's get to the next function. So this next function is very important. See what happens if I don't use the next function. If I remove it, right, I'll kill the server, restart the server again. I'll make a new tab. I'll go to localhost 3000, right? We are not getting anything back. It's because the next ensures that the request is sent further to rest of the handlers or to rest of the middleware or to any other middleware that is in between, right? And this is the reason why the next function is very, very important. So I'll just bring it back. I'll kill the server. I'll run the application again. And yeah, the application is up and running once again. So people, that's it for the middlewares. I hope you enjoyed this video. We will be making use of middlewares in our future videos once we are doing authentication and building real applications. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like this video. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.